Nikolai Smolensky, a 24-year-old Russian millionaire, is a car nut who liked TVR so much that in the middle of last year he bought the company for a very reasonable £15 million. His sheer enthusiasm, mixed with talk of improved wages, free lunches, new uniforms and better build quality, got everyone at the Blackpool factory very excited. And now, just 8 months on, the new regime has launched its first 2 cars. The grown-up £40,000 Tuscan 2 and the wild child £50 grand Sagaris.
So what differences has the Russian made? Well, Smolensky hasn't instigated a revolution. He's merely brought in a fine-tooth comb. In fact, he delayed the launch of these 2 cars until he was convinced that they'd been perfected.
For instance, they've added a few millimetres of padding to the seat scrub to make it much more comfortable. They've heat shielded the gear knob so you don't burn your hands whilst changing gear. And also, on first impression, all the switch gear looks of a much higher quality, and generally they've just tidied the whole thing up. TVR are now so serious about getting the build quality right that they've decided to reduce their involvement in racing, which means more manpower for the road cars. And for the first time ever, TVR are taking their models abroad for hot and cold weather testing, just like the big manufacturers. It's a whole new level of precision that you wouldn't normally expect from a British sports car maker. As for the detailing and design, well, I'll let the pictures do the talking. Join me and my sexy assistant later when we'll be taking these 2 to the limit and beyond in their first ever televised track test. Under their new Russian owner, TVR claim that these 2 new models come with improved build quality, and at first glance, it's very easy to be overwhelmed by the sensational design and craftsmanship. The one thing I want from a TVR is an exciting drive, but the big question is, has all this newfound attention to detail steamrolled out the raw driving pleasure? Well, there's only one way to find out, but before I begin, I need a sexy assistant.
Hello, Jason. It's me.
Right, so, the new Sagaris. First impressions. Well, the chassis is pretty good, I have to say. The steering's very direct. The car tells you exactly what's going on. It's a bit tail-happy in the slower corners. Well, there you go. But quite controllable.
This Tuscan is exactly what a TVR should be. A big, fat load of grunt, a noisy engine, all strapped to a rear-wheel drive chassis. However, it really does need some muscle to drive it. Every time the car moves direction, there's a lot of body roll, so you can really feel a lot of weight slinging from one side to the other. Also, the pedals have got an incredibly long movement to them. And to engage the clutch, you really have to sort of almost travel down from the steering column all the way down to the headlamps is how it feels. Whereas Jason, on the other hand, Jason looks like he's on holiday.
You know, you do feel connected with the road. You do feel part of the car. And in this one particular, you can feel exactly what's going on underneath you and drive it on the limit with some style and verve. This car is more suited to a circuit in that the suspension's a bit stiffer. It's more track set up.
But you know what? You can't complain. With 350 brake horsepower on tap.
There she goes.
Oh, chase me.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to say then that this Tuscan 2 still manages to capture the full-on raw essence of TVR.
So has the new TVR under Russian control sorted out its build quality problems? Well, I'd have to say I'm not too sure, because this morning I jumped in this car and after a few laps, a black box under the dashboard came loose. Also looked down into the passenger side and the carpet's come off the underside of the dashboard. Not good.
I've got this, is the windscreen wiper switch, which fell off from behind the steering wheel quite early on.
But at the end of the day, you know, for me, a TVR is not an everyday car. It's a second car. And, you know, it's all about raw driving pleasure. They're great fun to be in. They've got great engines. But it's an everyday car to live with? Nah, not for me, I'm afraid.
So, despite the Russian takeover, it's business as usual. They're still a bit too hardcore for everyday use, but there's nothing quite like a TVR for stirring the blood, which is why we're giving you the chance of experiencing those thrills for yourself, because we're giving away one of our favourite ever TVRs, a stunning 96 Camaro in desirable Cooper metallic green. The Camaro has always been one of the more practical, usable TVRs, but with a 4-litre V8, it still makes all the right noises. This one has really been cherished, with a fully stamped dealer history and a huge wad of receipts.
To be in with a chance of winning it, all you've got to do is answer this simple question. What is a V8? Is it a type of A, engine, B, headrest, or C, handbrake? Call 09015 339955 to enter, or text GEAR plus A, B or C to 81555. Lines close at midday on Monday the 18th of April. We'll remind you of the numbers at the end of the show. You can enter the competition via our website, 5.tv/5th gear, where you'll also find details of our brand new download feature.